So let's actually dive into OneDrive. So this is where you're going to see some brand new Copilot experiences. And I'm going to start pretty basic with this, and then we'll get a little bit more advanced. One of the core things that you actually do with OneDrive is draft content, but it's private for just you. And then once you're done drafting that content, it's a publishing mechanism. You need to publish it to SharePoint. You need to publish it to Teams to make it more broadly available. Or sometimes you just want to share that file with a limited number of teammates to collaborate on it and start engaging with it. But one of the things that Microsoft's actually done that's been really helpful, and I'm going to lean into the innovative toaster for the rest of this demo, is you can share, and as part of that share menu that now pops up, when you go to generate the message that you want to send to people, you can now invoke Copilot to create a summary of that document, which is really amazing because now, like, I don't have to worry about wordsmithing this. It really just like, here's a bullet point. This is great. Who am I going to send this to? Daniel Glenn, you've been volunteered. I'm going to send this to you today. And I'm just now like, here's a summary of the document. And just like that, I would read it. I'd probably wordsmith it a little bit, but like, it's that simple to go in now and have Copilot help you to generate the summary of the thing that you're now sharing out. And I think that's a huge feature that it saves you a lot of time. You know, you can still customize the message, add,
on the public roadmap. This feature is also coming to Word on the desktop apps and mobile apps as well. So it's going to be embedded in Word, but that's like later on this year on their roadmap.microsoft.
And I'm happy to see that extend to other experiences. I'm glad it's in OneDrive though, because that's where I primarily work. I draft there, create there, publish from there, extend it to other published locations. So that's the first feature that we wanted to call out in OneNote. So that's share. The second feature that's in OneNote that we wanted to call out.
OneDrive. Sorry,
OneDrive. Oh, I've had OneNote conversations all week long. It's like I'm living in the past. OneDrive. Thank you for the correction. The other OneDrive features that I want to call out is I'm still at OneDrive Home. And if I go right down here, in line, in my menu bar, there's a Copilot icon. And I can invoke Copilot from there to summarize against that document without having to open that document. I can invoke OneDrive to create an FAQ or ask a question of that document without having to open that document. So I don't necessarily have to drill down into it, ask it a question. So Copilot's going to pop up here for me in the side panel. And then it's referencing that that particular item, so we can ask it a question, or we can create an FAQ. Now, I clicked on create an FAQ, and it took me away from that sidebar. That's a nuance that I think they're still kind of working out there, because they did try to open a sidebar panel, but here it just went and looked at that simple little that simple little outline we created earlier, and now I've got a FAQ that's built around that. But I can continue to follow up with that and ask it questions. I can provide feedback. I can copy that. And it's going to show me exactly what it's referencing. I know the document is still highlighted in the background, but I don't have to drill down into it.
Go ahead and click that ask a question button. That invokes the sidebar. So I found that yesterday, actually, is that when you click that action, that gives you that sidebar. I don't see another place to toggle it on and off other than when you are having a Copilot conversation, you can pick up, or you can continue it in this little bar.
And that's where I think there's still some behind the scenes work that they're working on implementing here. Like, I think this is early stages for this. I know this just showed up in our demo tenant not too long ago, so I really think that's early stages on it. If I'm putting on my wizard hat and looking into my crystal ball, what I think might happen is going to be similar to what we actually see in Outlook, where you have a Copilot icon in the upper corner there, and it brings open Copilot against your entire mailbox. I feel like that might be the direction they're headed, where this sidebar might be something that you can invoke with an icon in the UI. I don't have any behind the scenes information on that. I just kind of feel like that's where it might be going, because the first time we clicked on this, nothing happened. But like you're saying, once I did the FAQ and popped it up here and then asked it a question because it had something to go off of, that's when the sidebar can vote. That's where I think there's still some things that they're rolling out behind the scenes.
Yeah, it makes logical sense that,
Yeah.
you know, they might go that direction eventually. Yeah.
So as we're looking at this, like, you don't have to open the document in order to get that summary. You don't have to open that document in order to kind of see what's in it. And it works pretty fast. So like, if you have a lot of documents in there, this can help you to move pretty quickly through them to find the actual one you want, especially when things like file names are similar or project names are similar. I'm doing this from OneDrive Home. But if I go down to my files, I'm going to be able to do the same thing in my files. So like, I can navigate in my files to a certain folder. And then in that folder, I could go ahead and summarize, create my FAQ. Now I'm doing that in line with the menu bar to the right of the file name. But you would also be able to go and just select the item using the check mark off to the side, and then go up to the command bar at the top, and you'd be able to summarize, create your FAQ, or even ask a question right over there, and Copilot against that same thing. Now, I asked it a question. Now it's saying summarize this file, and there's a few clicks to get it to work over there. Again, I think they're just kind of working that out, but it's summarizing the file and drilling down into it. I haven't opened the file. I think that's really helpful. But as we're looking through this, like, I've done this with a Word document a couple of times. Let's change the file type. Let's go down and let's try this with like maybe a PowerPoint presentation. So let's just summarize this as a PowerPoint. I like that it does kind of a thumbnail icon to indicate that it's a PowerPoint, the opening slide. It's, so in this case, summarizing each slide in the deck, which is really helpful. Really nice table of contents. Gives a little bit of information around it. So PowerPoint works. All right, let's go down here. Let's do an Excel file. So I'm going to open up. I'll just do a summarize against this again, because summarize tends to be the one that works the best out of the box. So it looked down into the customer profitability analysis that I have, customer activity, profitability analysis, and then summary metrics. That's pretty accurate based off of what I know that's in there. Well, let's try it against a couple of additional file types. So I've got, let's say if I can find a PDF in this in here. So let's actually go. There we go. We'll go to this folder. Let me refresh. All right. So here I've got a couple of PDFs. Let's see if it'll summarize a PDF. And this is based off of initially it was a Word document saved as a PDF. And based off of what I know that's in the body of that, that's pretty close to the information that's actually in that document. So it's fairly accurate at first glance. It's summarizing a fairly large PDF document. That's about 8 to 10 pages inside of there. So we can check off PDF that it works with that. All right. We've got a couple other file types that we want to explore. So we've done Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and PDF. Let's actually head back. I know I have a few video files, so I want to see if it's going to work against a video file. So let me go back to my coffee shop plans. All right, this is a video file. So let's actually see if we can work with it there. And as I select that, there's no option for Copilot for a stream video file. So it's not going to show up there. However, it is a video. If you invoke stream with it, you would be able to use Copilot in stream, provided there's a transcript. So it looks like that part may not have come across into OneDrive yet, but there is still a way to be able to use Copilot against a video file. Just open it up and stream and work with it. All right, so that's the video file. Couple other file types. Let me see if we can work with.
Have you looked at loop yet? Like a loop file?
That's what I'm looking for next. Yep.
Okay.
Loop. I know I have a loop file in here somewhere. There we go.
There we go.
I got a loop file here, and I go and the Copilot icon does show up for loop. So I'm going to summarize that.
Okay.
Whiteboard summary 1 .fluid. So it is working with a loop file, which is great. So we're getting a summary off of that, but it also tells me at the top the participants, the date, the ideas that were generated, which now leads me, can I use it against whiteboard? So let's actually see if I have a whiteboard folder here. So whiteboards.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go there, and I'm not seeing anything Copilot related in the menu bar. I'm not seeing anything in the command bar at the top. I'm not seeing anything in the meatball menu. So I can't invoke Copilot against a whiteboard file without actually going in it. But if I, much like Stream, if I opened up the file, I would be able to use the whiteboard or Copilot feature that's actually built in.
Yeah.
I think the last couple that we had on our note on our list, and for the sake of time, I'm not going to go into each one of them, but it does not work with images. It does not work with OneNote notebooks. It doesn't work with Visio diagrams. And like I just showed you with the whiteboards, you have to open the whiteboard in order to work with it. The other thing is, if you select like a folder, it won't summarize all the files in a folder. But you're probably wondering, does it work with more than one file? So like, let's say, for example, I've got two recipes up here. I've got the Blackbeard's Delight recipe and the Blackbeard's Revenge recipe. And if I select both of those, notice the menu bar at the top is still available for Copilot, and I can summarize. So we're going to summarize both of those at one time.
Mm-hmm.
It was looking for something it thinks is relevant, and voila, now it's giving me a concise summary of two completely separate files in one area.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. But that's not all. If you go back and you compare files, it'll give you a table-based comparison between the two files. Now, this one's a little interesting, so we'll let this load.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people asking to be able to do this. Like they know they can do it with like mentioning two files, you know, but they've been wanting the structure that this has where it's in a table format.
Yep. So it's given us the table format. There's a column there for aspect, and aspect in this case means ingredients and instructions, theme, and additional notes. And then it gave a whole column dedicated to one file and a completely separate column dedicated to the other file. It's given me the references at the bottom, but at a glance, it's extracted the key information based off of the rows, the topics that it's looking for, and it's given me a way to compare that. Now, for full disclosure, this isn't the only way that I can do a comparison. For example, if you were to go back to Copilot for Microsoft Home and say, compare and then reference those two files. And so we know that's, come on. There's a little bit of a delay there. The Blackbeard's Revenge and / I'm looking for Blackbeard's Delight. If you go to Copilot chat and ask it for a comparison in a table format, it'll do something similar. It'll go in and it'll try to extract key insights from the two different files, and it'll give you a similar type of table and format. We've been able to do this for a while. This is called synthesis. You
just have to remember to ask for a table, you know?
Yeah.
But in Copilot OneDrive, you just click it and it does it for you. So it kind of, you know, takes away some of the prompt engineering you had to do before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to kind of showcase this a little more, I do want to show like what happens if you compare like maybe different files. So like, let's do a coffee shop business plan and a coffee shop pitch deck. And then let's do a summary of two completely different kinds of files and even two completely different use cases for those files. And let's see what it's going to output there. So once again, it's dividing it up by the different documents, the business plan up top and the coffee shop pitch deck down below. It looks like it's pulling each of the individual slides and the key metrics based off of the sections that are in that document. So it will work across different document types. Now I want to take that same thing one more time, and I want to go and I want to do a compare files. And this is the one where it should put it into a table format without me having to ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now in this one, notice the metadata: author, date last modified, document type, and then it goes into some of the main content that it can get. So I have noticed this when you're working with a comparison of different files, it does try to fill that with some metadata at a high level: document type, modified date, before it actually gets into the body of the content. Now we've done a comparison between the two. Let's ask
Mm-hmm.
it a question. So it actually brings that over here. So I don't know, what are the financial projections based off of what it's pulled over. So now we can go into that sidebar and we can work with this a little bit further. But now we're referencing those two different files within OneDrive. So that takes us through a few of the different experiences that you're going to start to see in OneDrive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see if this is going to roll out into SharePoint document libraries in the near future. I think that would be super helpful in SharePoint document libraries. And the foundation behind the scenes is very similar. So I hope that we're going to see it there. I'm also curious to see, is this sidebar going to be something that we can interact with more easily in the future inside of OneDrive versus just relying on the menu bar at the top? Again, these are early days, and I'm speculating that is going to be something that we're going to be able to use more frequently in the future. I would like to be able to take the Copilot sidebar and use that to extend my OneDrive capabilities: search, research, drafting content, staying in the flow of work, and having Copilot really sitting there side by side. So that's something that I think that maybe that product team is probably thinking about. I hope they're thinking about it. And if they're not, hopefully I'll be at the MVP Summit in 2025 and I can give them that feedback in person.
Yeah. A bit of a detour. So it's not specific to OneDrive, but Andy, did you want to show the new Copilot button in the file previewer type of
Yeah.
feature? Like when you open up a PDF inside of your OneDrive or in a Teams tab or in a SharePoint?
So this is our pro tip detour. And what we're talking about is the preview option. I'm a big fan of the preview option. You can preview over 300 different file types. I really like the preview option because it gives you a way to view the contents of the document without having to open it in like Word, Excel, PowerPoint for the web. And
Yeah.
sometimes if you're trying to just quickly at a glance compare a few documents, this is really helpful. So like here I've got Blackbeard's Delight. If I want to move to the next file in my OneDrive, I just click the next button and now I'm on to the next file, and I don't have to like be in Office, deal with tabs and opening and closing tabs. And it's just really helpful to be able to kind of move back and forth between some different files. But we noticed in testing that there's a Copilot option that shows up in the preview menu. So while I'm previewing a file, I can click on Copilot and then I get Copilot right off to the side, and I can leverage Copilot against that in the preview mode without having to be in Office. So I'm going to go through just a couple of different file types just to kind of show what this looks like. So this is a Word document, works pretty well. We'll go on to the next one. This is a PowerPoint presentation, just mocking up like a chalkboard like diagram. We'll see a Copilot there. So summarize.
That's so convenient. Like you don't have to just go all the way into the app and then back all the way out to go to another file. It's just it's like the quick look option, on a Mac that we've been used to.
And I use this all the time because I have a lot of presentations that are named the same thing. And, maybe I just deliver them in different months. And this can kind of quickly show me the most recent. This is a video file, so there's no Copilot there, just a coffee cup, just waiting for somebody to pick it up. This is actually a Word document, so I would be able to use Copilot against the Word document, coffee shop plans. I'm going to exit the preview mode by going to the upper right-hand corner, and I'm going to scroll down until I get to, actually, let me go to a folder where I have a PDF in it so you can see the PDF.
Okay.
So I got the lab document files here. So you can preview a PDF here. All right, so I'm in preview. Hey, look, telling me you can preview over 300 different file types. That's great. You got your tools at the top. Thanks. But I'm in a PDF clearly, and then we go over here and I can
Yep.
summarize the PDF even in the preview mode. I love the preview mode. Clearly, it's just super handy for not having to deal with tabs and back and forth, and just to quickly compare, move visually a couple of documents. And the other thing I should point out is, like, just looking at this, like there's a menu bar at the bottom where you can tell it exactly what page you want to jump to. You can also zoom in or out, bigger, smaller. You can change or rotate it. You can even use this to search through the document and highlight and look for certain things in it. And that's all super helpful in the preview mode. But now that we got Copilot against it, you can ask questions against that thing while it's in preview mode. I don't have to go and like open this in another reader application or another tab. And when I'm done doing what I do here, I just close it and I'm right back in the OneDrive where I left off. And I think that's a huge time saver.